It's time now for Easy Money with E, so we'll welcome in Erica, our resident sports betting analyst, for the best bets of the weekend as we head to Indianapolis. First, though, Erica, great job last weekend. It feels like we are finally back on track with the bets.
Kim, we are 1,000% back on track. We had the list is actually too long to even just go through all of our best bets that hit, but we had five. One of my favorite ones, though, that hit was fading Denny Hamlin as a favorite. And believe it or not, at some sports books, there is a market to fade a driver. And if you clicked on that option, then that was a fifth one that hit for you. So kudos to us and kudos to you guys for listening to my advice.
Well, I know fans are excited to put bets on this weekend because the cars are back on the big track, the oval at Indy.
Yep.
So let's start. Let's dive right in. What are your head-to-head bets?
Okay, so the head-to-head bet that I'm going with this week is between Blaney and Keselowski. I'm going to go Blaney minus 110. Now, this is essentially a toss-up, Kim, because both drivers are minus 110. And I know that a lot of folks are there thinking, well, why are you going with Blaney? Because Keselowski is the driver who has a win at this track, not Blaney. But Ryan is the driver who currently has the hotter hand. He's coming off of that incredible win, of course, at Pocono. And also, this is a Penske track. So those are the reasons I'm going to back Blaney in this spot. Who would you take in this head-to-head, Kim?
I'm going to pick Blaney too. He may or may not end up in my fantasy picks later in the show, so fans will have to wait and see. But I like the pick of Blaney, but honestly, either one, because if you look at the last three oval races at Indy, they were all won by Ford.
And you know what, Kim, I like that you brought that up because as I was looking at the different odds across various books, it was difficult to find some consistency with how odds makers are handicapping this race. And I would, think that is because this is the first time in 3 seasons that we've been back on the oval versus road course at Indy. So keep that in mind as well as you're placing your wagers for this weekend.
Yeah, great point there. All right, let's dive right into E's top picks on the weekend.
So we're going to go Denny Hamlin as a top 3 finisher. We're going to go Martin Truex Jr. as a top 10 finisher. We're also going to go Chris Buescher as a top 10 finisher. Let's go back to our boy Denny Hamlin at plus 140 to finish in the top 3. He's like my evergreen bet for all the reasons we talk about every week. So Denny Hamlin plus 140, top 3 finishers, kind of a no-brainer. But if you want a little bit better value, you can always go his outright winners odds at plus 450. Kim, I am going to back Martin Truex Jr. as a top 10 finisher at minus 175. I know a lot of people out there are not going to lay that kind of money on minus 175, and I get it. So for people who don't want to do that, there is a market for you. You can go plus 175 as a top 5 finisher. I feel more confident because Martin Truex Jr. has shown that top 10 spot is better for him at this track. And I think with his team being more aggressive, or I think they should be more aggressive as they're trying to get him a win before he retires from full-time driving, I think the top 10 finish at minus 175 is the safer bet. And then Chris Buescher, I want to hear your thoughts about Chris Buescher. Top 10, minus 160. This was a part of the season last year where he started getting super, super hot. He won 3 races toward the end of the season. And I know it was a little bit closer to the end of July, but past could be prologue. And I expect for him and his team to be very aggressive to try to get him a win before we head into the Olympic break. What you got to say about that as a top 10 finisher?
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I actually talked to the team in Pocono, and crew chief Scott Graves said, if we don't win in the next 2 races before that break, we are going to have so much stress. So they are really trying to amp it up this weekend. They've got 1 race to do it. Now, I don't know that they will be, an outright winner. We'll see, but I do expect them to have a really good performance as we head to Indy.
I'm glad that you mentioned Kim outright winners because actually I do want to sprinkle a little bit of money on Chris Buescher as an outright winner at plus 2,000. Those odds are super long, but the payout would be just incredible. So definitely go there if you have a couple of bucks to spend.
Yeah, make some extra cash if it does in fact end up being Chris Buescher kissing the bricks this weekend. All right, Erica, great information. We'll catch up with you next week. And again, don't forget, later in the week, she'll have the bonus bets. And now that you know where to place your money, Ryan and I are going to tell you what to watch for after the break.